It's easy to hear your favorite artist on WFPK from wherever you are. Listen on your smart speaker, live stream from our website at WFPK.org from Louisville Public Media.
Consequence Podcast Network.
Hey, welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith with the interview series presented by WFPK at WFPK.org, Consequence, and the Consequence Podcast Network. Thanks so much for making your way here, checking out the series. Hit that subscribe button so you can keep up with all the interviews that we put out every single week. 3 brand new interviews every single week. New ones every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so you can keep up with all of your favorite artists, discover some new ones, and know what's happening in the music world. iTunes and Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Acast, Podchaser, YouTube for the video versions, or anywhere you get your podcasts from. Just subscribe to Kyle Meredith with. And that's me. I'm Kyle Meredith. Today, my guest, Isaac Brock of the band Modest Mouse. They are back with The Golden Casket, their first album since 2015. And Isaac is going to tell me about the sound experiments he had been working on over the past few years, as well as having kids. That's kept him busy. And the album that he had talked about releasing after Strangers to Ourselves, which he says he still has and he still likes. So maybe we'll be getting that at some point in eternity. Isaac goes on to discuss his penchant for writing about the universe, the unseen parts of our environment that include sound waves and various other waves, and aliens. In fact, there's quite a bit of talk of UFOs, third eye spies, the Phoenix Lights, both in relation to his own experiences and how they work themselves into this record. It's a really interesting and fun interview. It's Kyle Meredith talking with Modest Mouse, Isaac Brock. First off, I guess I should say it's so great to have you back. I know there's been these one-off singles in the past few years, but to have an album, The Golden Casket, that is so amazingly good, and I'm really not doing the interview or blowing smoke up your way. I freaking love this record. It is interesting that when I mention that, I'm going to be talking with you, it doesn't matter who I'm talking to. The first question out of everybody's mouth is, what does he do? What does he do between the albums? I think that's become the big thing.
Yeah. That's kind of all over the place. I made a lot of noise that I didn't think was worth making, putting on records, but I wanted to make it anyways. And I made a lot of it. I made years of just looped insanity, I think. And then, outside of music, I don't know, I've been pretty busy with my kids and life in general. And it's baby jail. But what someone I know calls it, and it's pretty fitting. So, yeah, I'm serving a couple sentences here.
It's a real thing. I do know about that.
Yeah. Are you in or are you out?
Mine is now 13. I got one. Okay. So I'm out, but I completely remember it. It's very, I have lots of video and audio to remind me that while in my head it was really cute, that at the time it was not as cute.
It's pretty fucking cute, man. Yeah, I don't think I'm being the best dad I can because I'm not upset by almost anything they do. But it's like, oh, that's so cute, but it's so fucking cute. Anyways, yeah, lots of loosening the wheels on the wagon and then tightening them back up. That that sort of shit.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I do remember at one point, if I'm remembering right, actually, and it was on the last record. And of course, I think a lot of people are probably asking you around the same thing right then, like, hey, it's been a handful of years since an album. And I think a lot of artists, when they say this, I assume they probably regret it immediately. But I thought you had said something around that time, like, you know what? And I've got enough material for another album right after this.
Yeah, and I kind of did. I think I was 2 songs shy of what I would have felt was a man, So I was like, I'll just start releasing this as singles, and then by the time I need those other 2 songs, well, we'll be there. And we didn't get very far with that because I don't fucking know why. There's no reason it didn't. That batch of songs is still sitting there, and I'm still pretty happy with it. And so I don't know. Maybe I'll just tell another lie. Yeah, next is gonna be done even quicker.
Even quicker.
6 years.
No, at least now you've set it up. Now we have expectations, so it's fine. We're like, we got one. This is all right. But so digging into this one, and I just want to dig into this one because I do think there's so much going on to dissect. Like, I'll start with this. Another one of the fan comments that I've at least seen online is sort of, as I say, the expectations, what people are assuming a lot of this thematically might be about. And someone said, with the world so shitty, there's some expectations thematically that this could follow in line with, what you call your breakthrough record, Good News for People Like Bad News. And I don't know what a golden casket exactly represents to you in this. I kind of know what I felt like it has. Like I haven't completely grasped that, but it does seem like when we're talking about a golden casket, which no matter the material, it's still a waste of space ultimately that you're burying someone in and, being away with. But so let me back that up. So what does that represent to you in this? And is that thematically sort of on pace with what the assumptions are?
Well, I mean, I'm more mesmerized than feeling what the hell about it. My lack of, what am I trying to say? The last couple of years have been strange enough for me and whatnot, at least, that I'm reevaluating my overall universe view, math is getting fucking weirder. Like I don't even understand the math that makes this shit make sense, but quantum anything, I definitely feel like a passenger in things, at times. Most of the universe is invisible and it's fucking wild. That's kind of where I'm at. And I think there's a bit of that in this thing. And the ways that we're able to engage in and just blindly just throwing fucking, rays, RF, extremely low frequency waves, fucking all the stuff that is our communication and things. Like it's as real as you or me, man. Like, I mean, we're using it right now and stuff. It's not solid, but it's doing something to it. Yeah, And I mean, who can blame us? They're fucking this whole everything about this is kind of neat and stuff, and we're not, and for others, very profitable. I mean, I think if we found out today for certain, like news came in, and it was like, oh, all pollinators are dying because of phones. I'd call someone and tell them about it on my fucking cell phone and shit.
Right.
And I don't think it is like. We're plenty evil, I guess, but not. I don't think that's what this is. Anything's really about. I think it's just once you've had a taste, people fucking, they're not going to stop making cell phones. There's more islands to buy or whatever and shit.
First off, the pollinators has been something that's been scaring me for a few years, and the fact that they haven't discredited that, and yet we're all still using the phones. Like that might be a thing. The bees are dying because we don't know. But it's just kind of a comment on what you were saying there. So you want to be a rock and roll star? No? Well, how about a podcast star? Well, as it turns out, there's a new all-in-one platform just for you. It's called Anchor, and it's the easiest way to make a podcast. And check this out. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer, and then Anchor will distribute the podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify and Apple Podcast and, everywhere else in podcast land. And what's even better, you can actually make money from your podcast. Go figure. No minimum listenership on that. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So go ahead. Download the free Anchor app right now or go to anchor.fm to get started. So what are you waiting for? Podcast stardom is within your reach. But hearing the way you talk about that, the way you're talking about, the invisible universe, and having been a fan of Modest Mouse for a very long time, I do feel like you've been sort of looking at the universe for a long time in and out of a lot of your songs, whether it's even just the moon close to us. And we hear about the stars in this one. Has it changed what you're thinking about when you're looking up there? How the way you look at the universe, has that changed for you?
Well, Elon Musk has, because I got to see a parade the other night. I was like, what the? I didn't sign on for this. Like, it's already hard to see the stars. And now I've got now it feels like I'm in a satellite prison. Like, who signed off on this shit? And maybe it'll be great. Maybe it's the best thing that ever happened. I don't know. I don't know what the game plan is. Wasn't really put up to committee. I mean, are there any entire nations that you know of that are just like, yeah, you can't just do that I guess that conversation's over. If you want to have it, you don't get to have it. That sort of thing. But for me, there's this one line by a band called The Drones that does better than, I hate to say it, they just did a better job summing up this whole thing, which is one line: what do fish know about water? And it's fucking, that's pretty, that's kind of how I feel about the universe as it is right now and things. I mean, like, come on, man. When every day, like someone, and not just like someone from the Pentagon, like the president, you know, like Obama is like, oh, I can't tell you about the flying saucers. But like, what do you fucking mean? Well, then don't start that sentence and stuff, because there's a lot in there. But you know, like, now I was personally involved in seeing the Phoenix Lights. I saw the most commonly reported. I was in a holding pattern on an airplane. I'm on board. That happened in '97. Google it. So it's not something I was going to talk about because I can't conjure UFOs, but there's a lot of talking about it going on these days, so I'm comfortable doing it. And that's fucking crazy. Like, that's just like casual conversation, just like for world leaders and shit now. Like, oh yes, well, you know, yes. Like, are they waiting for the ink to dry? Like, is there some deal, or it was just like we decided, like, you guys get in the suit. Okay, some of you guys got to climb into this big space pot, and then the rest of you just keep breeding because they're coming back with another pot in about 2,000 years or whatever and stuff. Like, it's gonna be. I mean, I'm actually kind of relieved that, like, apparently whatever's going on with the people from other planets is so becoming an open topic, because I've got a section of what most of my conversation just falls into this tinfoil hat category, and so I kind of keep it, you know, like, I keep it away from the likes of you and stuff. The last thing I need to do is just be publicly crazy again and shit.
It is so common right now. Like this is dinner table conversation that even I'm having here with, you know, around with my wife, because I said the other day, referencing what you were just talking about with Obama, I said, you know, why I'm not nervous right now is because whatever he knows, he's still comfortable enough to just sit around and shoot the shit with Bruce Springsteen on a podcast that goes nowhere.
And isn't that nice?
Yeah.
You know, but like, but then you go back to, if someone said that all the pollinators were dying, it definitely dying because our phones, we just keep doing it anyways. Is that what's happening? You know, like, I mean, it does make me feel more comfortable. Like, there's maybe, because I don't think we have an idea whatsoever how to salvage this shit. Like, we're just like, maybe another 10 years, you know? And so I like to know that there's maybe someone showing up with some better science, maybe a good plan, and maybe it doesn't involve a pot or, you know, giant pits of our bodies or anything like that. That would be fucking great, because I'm out of ideas. I don't think no one's calling me, but, you know, which is good, because I don't know what to tell them. You know, I'm kind of a Paul Stamets dude. Like, I'm on board with it. I think we could probably solve a lot of problems with mushrooms, but we're not gonna, you know, it's inconvenient. So
I'll tie that in back to the record a little bit too. Just the fact that, you know, the whole thing starts off with an acid trip in itself is just a great moment as far as, you know, the comeback of Modest Mouse and whatever that means. But really tying it closer into what we're talking about here, you have taken what we're discussing, the silence of the universe, and actually worked that into the music somehow. And I say that as I read in the press release as what you're talking about. I've listened to the record with actual headphones, not with, you know, more than just the earbuds and everything. And it does feel like there's stuff going on. How did you work it in musically? I mean, we hear what we're talking about thematically here, but how did that show itself musically on this record?